Welcome to the Jenks and the Hammer podcast. Bringing you the latest NFL news and insights from the perspectives of two die-hard fans. Join your hosts, Grayson Jenkins and John Hammerly, as they dive deep into the world of football, along with a special focus on the New Orleans Saints and the Green Bay Packers. So sit back, relax, and get ready for some football talk with Jenks and the Hammer.
And here we go! What's up, guys? Welcome to episode 3 of the Jenks and the Hammer podcast. Today we got a special episode for you guys. We got a special guest, one of my good friends, all the way from Tennessee, diehard Giants fan, Jack Lish.
Let's go.
In the building. First guest ever on this podcast.
What an honor.
We got a good episode. We're gonna be talking Giants with Lish, some NFL news, and then we're gonna break down. This is the first episode of many episodes breaking down position groups for the upcoming drafts. Today we got QBs. Me and Jenks put together a list, top 8, and we're gonna break it down for you guys. All right, let's hop right into the first segment. We're talking Giants with Jack. First question I gotta ask: you found your QB. You guys think you did? You paid him a big contract. What are your thoughts?
What are my thoughts?
Yeah.
Listen, I've been a Daniel Jones guy from day one. As much as people been hating on him, I've always known he's got the talent. Is $40 million a year a lot?
$40 million.
That's a lot. I think he's like the 8th highest paid quarterback now. But you got to pay to keep your guy. I mean, I personally don't think it's worth trying to draft a guy, especially when you got the 25th pick, I believe, in the draft. And when you got a guy that you think got it all, got the talent. I mean, he needs talent around him. Like he had no receivers this year. Offensive line was shaky to say the least, and you put it together. You put a bunch of pieces together. I think you can be really successful.
Yeah, and so the contract's 4 years, $160 million. So it's $40 million a year, and I think it's the first 2 years are really guaranteed. So it's really kind of like a 2-year contract. But I mean, he deserves it, right? I mean, he got first playoff win, playoff appearance. So yeah, big step.
Yeah, no, I mean, hey, in my mind, I think Dable's a really good coach. I mean, he won Coach of the Year. If Dable's on board, so am I.
Yeah, I mean, you said no weapons, and they already got one for him. So they got Darren Waller. I think they signed Jamison Crowder today. You got any thoughts on the new weapons?
I mean, I love the Waller pickup. I mean, he's injury prone and he's getting older, I guess. But comparatively for a 3rd round pick and for what we have as a team, I mean, that's definitely a big upgrade over anything we have. If you can give, half the production, 3/4 of the production that he did when he was healthy in Vegas, it's a big pickup for us.
Yeah, Crowder, you just added today. You bring back
Duke guy.
You bring back Sterling. You bring back Slayton. You signed Paris Campbell. So when you look at it, it's a lot of like receiver twos. No one's really like that number one receiver, but I mean, the more weapons, the better, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think plus for some reason it felt like our entire receiver core got hurt this year. So I think mainly for depth, we have a bunch of slots, wide receiver twos. I think we're just missing that number one guy, and hopefully that's what we're gonna go for in the draft in the first or second round.
So, speaking of having big off seasons, getting weapons, getting better, Dallas Cowboys made some moves this off season.
Yeah,
Brandon Cooks, Stephon Gilmore. Does it scare you? You think you?
See. As a Giants fan, the Cowgirls never scare me. So I gotta put it out first. In my mind, this is nothing new. Like when they had Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb, like that, when they had that, wide receiver, juggernaut, we could say. They were average to the best. I don't think Brandon Cooks is anything special. I think he's washed, honestly. I think he's been run out of a bunch of places at this point, and for a 5th and 6th round pick, I think that's not crazy. And it's the same thing with Gilmore. I mean, Gilmore was a phenomenal player 5 years ago. He's getting towards the end of his career and
slowing down.
Yeah, the Cowboys are picking him up there. like I'm sure it's definitely an upgrade of what they had before, but you know,
So I know
nothing I'm scared of.
I know it's early in the offseason, but like,
Yeah,
with all the moves, like, how do you think you stack them in the division? Would you go 2, or are you still staying at 3?
that's tough.
Because Philly lost a lot, but they also brought back a lot, like a lot more than you
Yeah,
think. Because I didn't think anyone was gonna. I didn't think anyone was thinking they were gonna bring back Bradbury and Slay. And they did.
they have both. See, personally, Philly's extremely talented team. Do I personally think they can replicate what they did last year? I don't think they're that like. See, I'm not the biggest Jalen Hurts guy, and
Really?
yeah, and
Why?
see, he's a football player, which is like he's got like the it factor, which is something that you can't teach,
Yeah.
which is special. But at the end of the day, if I need a game-winning drive, I need him to like step up and make Aaron Rodgers type plays. I don't see Jalen Hurts as a quarterback more per se, being able to do that consistently. And if he's surrounded by a team like Philly was last year, I think that's what elevated him to the next level. But I'm not sitting there being like, oh, like Jalen Hurts is Patrick Mahomes, because I don't think it's even close.
Hot take. Hot take.
So you're saying it's like he's Lamar Jackson, almost like more of a rushing threat and not as much of a passing threat quarterback, or is it just the talent around him?
Well, I mean, I think the talent around him definitely elevated him to a new level this year for sure. But I mean, go again. Jalen Hurts has accomplished more than I expected him to from the start. Like I didn't think he was an NFL quarterback at first, but I think you put a Lamar Jackson on that Eagles team this year, and I think they're winning the Super Bowl.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with that. I think Lamar Jackson's better than Jalen Hurts, 100%, and in skill set wise.
Yeah.
Since you mentioned it earlier, since receiver was kind of a subject, in the draft for the Giants, what positions do you think they go for, and then what players do you think on your mind do you think they go for?
Sure. 25's tough. Like, we're picking 25th. It's that like end of first round, early second round range, where it depends a lot on what goes before you, because there's so many picks. Who's going to trade up? Who's going to do what? I would love to get a receiver round 1 personally. I mean, obviously JSN Smith Njigba. I don't think he's going to be there 25. I don't expect him to be there 25. I mean, like I think he's a special talent. Even though he's coming off an injury, who knows? But I think he's special. We got a guy here at Tennessee, Jalen Hyatt, who I think, I mean, he's a speed guy. Is he a true number 1 receiver? I don't know. But like you put him as in the right system, he can be super dangerous. Like, here at Tennessee, I mean, he runs right past guys. Like he's got a special twitch, special type of speed. For the Giants, is that what they need? I don't know. Like, who I would love would be a guy like Quentin Johnson from TCU.
Yeah.
Big receiver, goes up, makes big time plays. He's a guy that we thought Kenny Golladay would be. I think they're very similar in comparison. When Kenny Golladay was good on the Lions, so a guy like that I would love. Other things, I mean, we need especially interior offensive line. I saw a few mock drafts. I haven't honestly been super up to date with that, but I know that they've been projecting guards and centers that we could definitely use. I mean, Andrew Thomas, left tackle. He was really good this year. Evan Neal was shaky, but we drafted him first round last year, top 10 pick. You expect him to step up year 2. So
yeah, he's only going to get better. Yeah, and that's like offense and offensive line and receivers. I mean, you can never have enough of them, right?
For sure. Yeah,
like and the kid from TCU, who you said fits the Kenny Golladay build. That's like big for you guys, because you guys have a lot of small receivers.
We do. Yeah,
so you get that big body outside. It makes a difference.
Yeah, we have a bunch of slot guys. Defensively, I mean, we just signed linebacker Bobby. I can't even say his last name. Bobby O from the Colts. So I mean, you expect him to be the Mike, which we needed bad after we cut what's his name? Blake Martinez. Yeah. I mean, we can still use linebackers for sure. Good defensive line, good linebackers. I mean, and we need that cornerback one. Cornerbacks. It's definitely an issue for us this year.
This cornerback draft is definitely stacked.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I mean, I could definitely see that for the Giants round 1 taking a corner.
Yeah, I mean,
they're gonna fall.
We have enough needs where it's I'm open to a lot.
Open to everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and receivers really stacked in this draft. Like the top 3 rounds, there's receivers throughout. So wherever you guys pick one, you guys will be all right.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's important to set Daniel after you give him a contract like that. Set Daniel Jones up for success. So, wide receiver 1, I think it's very important.
Without a doubt.
All right, jumping into our next segment, we're going to do a recap basically of the NFL news happening over the last few days. And first off, we have Zeke, who just announced his top 3 teams, which are going to be Cincinnati, the New York Jets, and Philadelphia. Personally, I don't think Cincinnati or the Jets are a good spot for him. I think Philly could be a nice spot where he would fit in, but I think Cincinnati already has Joe Mixon. The Jets already have Breece Hall, so I don't really see him fitting in there as a back as well as he does in Philly, where he could be the top guy over Boston Scott, went out that running back battle. So we'll see where he goes.
Yeah, I mean, it depends. In the NFL today, it's like everyone kind of plays with 2 running backs, right? You got the receiver, you got the speed guy, and you got the power guy. So I think it depends what kind of role Zeke wants. Because that would be a good combo, him and Mixon, because P. Ryan just went to the Broncos, or, him and Breece Hall. That would be a good combo. It's just, I think it's about what kind of role does Zeke want? What stage in his career is it, does he want to be the number 1 back, the lead back? Does he just want to be the power back, go in for goal line, get his touchdowns like Jamal Williams? I don't know. I mean, but out of those teams, I like Philly. That makes sense, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think Zeke's at this stage of his career, he's definitely not a number 1 guy. He took a beating in Dallas. He's a power guy, but I think he can be a good complement to a legit number 1 running back.
Mm-hmm. So the other news about the Jets, they're on Zeke a little bit. There's a big trade that went down. Elijah Moore trade. They sent him and a 3rd-round pick to the Browns for his 2nd-round pick. I think this trade says a lot, especially with the Aaron Rodgers stuff going around. It's like, all right, now they loaded back. They loaded on picks, so it's like, so now they have 3 picks in the top 50. So now it's like, hey, you got those 2 2nd rounds. Do you want to give the first down to Green Bay, or you want to hold on to that first and like, hey, he was 2 seconds. Are you gonna get 1 of those seconds? So I mean, this trade says a lot about the Rodgers deal, and it affects it a lot, and it's gonna be interesting. And I know a lot of Packer fans want Elijah Moore in that trade, so that kind of sucks. But the draft picks now, it makes it really interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I think Moore, not that he his stay wasn't. I don't know. I think there's a lot of button heads in New York, so I think that it was.
He did not like it there.
Yeah, it definitely didn't get along well with Wilson.
No.
So he was. If you're gonna move a guy out, I think he was definitely the guy.
Mm-hmm.
So I like the deal for the Jets.
Yeah,
Aaron Rodgers to the Jets.
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers is coming now. Another weapon might be coming as well. They got Odell thinking about signing there. Big talks today about Odell wanting to sign. But they just signed Lazard, They have Garrett Wilson already. They have weapons. So bringing in OBJ was kind of already that Lazard kind of build as a...
And they just got someone else too, right? Nicole...
Oh, yeah, Hardman. Nicole Hardman.
Hardman, right?
Yeah, so they already have the weapons. I don't see him getting the money that he wants or necessarily the targets. I don't see him being a number 1, maybe even a number 2 guy there. So unless he wants to be a depth guy, I don't see it as a good fit.
No, it doesn't make a lot of sense. I don't know. He wants like $15 million a year. It doesn't make, I don't know how they're working out. I don't know. The Jets are giving Aaron Rodgers the Brady treatment, right? Like he had at Tampa. He puts his finger on a player, that's who he's gonna get.
Right. It worked there, didn't it?
Yeah, I guess. Jets doing what the Packers could never do.
Jets the Super Bowl.
I mean,
so talking about go.
I mean, what you said, John, earlier is even the Bills could be a better fit than the Jets for OBJ.
Yeah, the Bills make a lot of sense. Like receiver too, like that would be awesome. I mean, Gabe Davis is good. I don't think he's a receiver too. It's not better than Odell.
Yeah, for sure.
Jack, I mean, Odell. Yeah.
Jack, you think there's any teams that he has like you think will fit better on than the Jets?
Yeah. Well, would you want Odell
on the Giants
to go to the Giants? Yeah.
See, if they think Odell can be a wide receiver one, absolutely. I mean, because I think he has the talent. At what level? Coming off an injury, hasn't played football in a year. Who knows? But yeah, I mean, we need a receiver. Right? If he could be a wide receiver one, I'll take that. But I mean, if he thinks it's a compliment, is that the guy we need? Probably not. Especially as a head case sometimes.
So let's talk about a receiver now that a lot of teams need and want. DeAndre Hopkins. He's going to get traded out of Arizona. Top 5 teams that are listed as interested: Buffalo Bills, New England Patriots, Baltimore Ravens, Las Vegas Raiders, and Atlanta Falcons. So looking at this list, I'm going to rule out the Raiders. I'm going to rule out the Falcons. Right? It doesn't really make sense. I don't know. The Falcons, why do you need Hopkins? Like, you don't waste draft picks and that kind of money on a guy. Like, you're not in a win now mode. You have nothing to do.
They don't even need hits. So.
No, they don't. Yeah, and you got Drake London. Focus on him, right?
Mm-hmm.
The Raiders, why? You have Devontae. You just signed Jacoby Myers.
Yeah.
You don't need Hopkins. You know what I mean? He's not gonna want to go there. The Ravens, I think that's the spot. If he can go there, I think that makes Lamar Jackson and the Ravens front office, those contract talks, a lot easier. We just got this guy for you. Let's go win a division. Get into the playoffs and see what happens. Patriots make a lot of sense, just because I don't know they need a receiver bad. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Bills, that would be a fun team to watch. Be interesting.
Yeah,
but
Josh Allen, Hopkins, Davis.
Yeah,
that'd be a crazy combo.
And a lot of this just depends. Yeah, be crazy. And a lot of this is just like Hopkins. Like, what does he want? What kind of role does he want? Does he want to be the guy? Does he want to go to a really good team and, win a Super Bowl like Buffalo? Or does he want to be the guy in New England? Or does he want to be the guy in Baltimore and kind of have that both? But interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Baltimore's the best fit because, Lamar Jackson, I think, would for sure want to stay. If they can get a solid number one guy for him, because right now it's Rashad Bateman, I think. And they don't have anything for him over there. And he's trying to leave. Like they said the other day on Twitter, he wants to leave now. So I think they have to try to make peace with him, and D-Hop is sitting there on a platter for them to trade for. So we'll see.
Yeah, for sure. Ravens have always needed a receiver. It's not like
always. I think the asking price is gonna go down too.
Yeah, I think.
What is that?
After Elijah Moore.
What is it?
I think it was a second round pick.
Yeah.
I think it's gonna go down after this Elijah Moore trade.
Probably third at least.
I think a third.
I'd give him a third drop.
Fifth. Yeah, easy.
Right?
Yeah.
Did it for Waller.
Yeah. All right, welcome to a new segment. Like we said, this is going to be the draft segment. We're going to be posting 2 episodes a week. Each episode, we're going to be breaking down a position group, an upcoming draft, giving you our top 8 guys. Let's get started. At number 8, this might be a surprise, but I got Clayton Tune out of Houston. 6'2", he's 220, 23 years old. Great athlete. He ran a 4.6 at the combine, which is really impressive for a white guy. He played 5 years at Houston. He started the last 3, so there's a ton of experience there. That's a lot of teams look for that. To have experience like that, to play for 5 years and start 3 of them, that's really attractive to teams. So what are his strengths? He's a dual threat QB with that 40 time. Like I said, he's very smart, and his experience makes up for the lack of arm talent. Has a good feel in the pocket and climbs to find the right platform to throw off of. Has good patience and is willing to work through his progressions. has the production that teams like to see. If you going by numbers, last season with 40 touchdown passes, he's a good leader. From the coaches and the teammates, that's what they say about him. His weaknesses, though, it's definitely the arm strength. When throwing deep, the accuracy just isn't there sometimes. He's not as quick or decisive with the football as others. He doesn't have that zip on it, and the pressure sometimes does rattle him, messing up his reads. But he definitely struggles to throw on the run. He's kind of just plant my feet, let it rip from the pocket, even though he has that speed. But you can definitely, like he's dual threat. You can definitely have a run game around him too. I think he's going to be a day 3 pick. I think he's just going to be a good backup in the league. He's a true system QB, and I have him going to the Patriots. Just seems like a Patriots pick to me. Like, you know what I mean? Like, not super talented, just has experience, a winner. Just like Patriots. Just makes sense.
5-year starter, you said?
Yeah, 5 years.
Yeah, that's
playing college football.
That's a big Bill Belichick type guy.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean,
a system guy too.
System guy. Yeah, I mean, honestly,
makes sense.
You got to measure your number 8 quarterback. Number 8 quarterback.
Yeah.
They're quarterbacks. They're gonna push up the board when they probably shouldn't be. Day 3 talent, probably day 2 guy.
Think so?
If teams are putting him at 8, he'll get pushed up.
You know what? QBs are weird though, right? Because you have your 3-4 guys that are going in the first round, right? You're probably gonna have 2 guys that go in the second, and then I feel like there's a drop off. I feel like then they get taken like the 5th, 6th, 7th round. I feel like that 3rd and 4th round, they're not really looking for the QB, so I got them going day 3. But
okay.
Yeah, so at 7, we got Stetson Bennett, who's a winner. He's Mr. Reliable for Georgia over there, and I think he's 25 years old, so he's an older quarterback, and that does hurt in the draft. So, yeah, like quarterbacks that are that old don't really get as high of looks as the younger quarterbacks because teams want to be able to develop them an extra few years before they reach that kind of age. So I think being that old is definitely a downside to him, but he's smart. He takes what the defense gives him. So that's one thing on Georgia that he was really good at was he had a good defense. He had good weapons around him. So when his team was behind or when his team was ahead, he just did what he needed to do. He just kept the ball to them. And because he was 56 touchdowns, 14 interceptions over the last 2 years, it's a good touchdown to interception ratio. And, but the thing about him is he's not the best arm talent. So throwing the ball deep, I know there's like a couple clips of him throwing it short to Ohio State, I believe. He tried to throw it deep on the run and it went like 20 yards short or something like that. So arm talent wise, he's not that great, but he can run. He can move around in the pocket. And that's one of the things that helped him a lot because he's only 5'11". So being able to move around in the pocket is definitely something a team in the NFL would look for. And I see him as a day 3 talent. I don't see him as a day 1, day 2, because I feel like he's more of a backup guy. I think he could end up being like a Tom Brady story. He could end up a starter somewhere. Not as good as Tom Brady, but he could end up a starter.
Take. That's a hot take.
I don't think he's going to be nearly as good, but I think he could end up being a team starter if the dominoes fall his way, and you could see how that goes. Maybe Brock Purdy almost, like, Mr. Unreliable turns into something special. So
that's clean too.
Yeah. I mean, if he falls to somewhere that has the weapons and stuff that he needs, he might have a shot, but I don't see him being more than a backup most likely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, as someone who's seen Stenson play live, he's one of those guys where you look at him on the field and you're like, all right, this guy does not belong on the field with all these guys. And you watch him play and you're like, all right, he has 0 of the attributes. Like nothing. It seems like nothing's gonna work, but he goes out there and makes plays and wins. And am I gonna? If I was an NFL team, I sit here, but I want that guy on my team. Maybe do I sit there and think that's my number 1 quarterback? No, but we wouldn't be talking about him if he didn't go out and win back-to-back national championships. Yeah. I mean, the guy's a winner. He fought through adversity. Wasn't even offered out of college. Walked on to Georgia. Which is why he's been there for about 47 years. Feels like, right? It's like as a Tennessee fan, I feel like he won't leave.
Yeah.
But he came, busted his ass, won the job. It's tough to look at those guys. I thought the same thing about someone like Jalen Hurts. I mean, I didn't see anything. Jalen Hurts is a better athlete, has definitely more attributes, but I didn't see him being a successful NFL quarterback when he transferred from Bama. And he even proved a lot of people wrong. And I think Ben Stetson could definitely, flow around, like go along the same path.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and like these last 2 years, like Stetson and Clayton, it's like these guys are not the most talented. They don't have the the arm talent, but it's like they're veteran guys, kind of, right? Because all the experience they have, and they just get it done. They get the job done. So that's attractive to teams for a backup QB, right?
Yeah.
I mean, look at all the backup QBs across the league. I mean, no talent, they're all old guys, and it's just like they get the job done, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, all right. At number 6, though, we do have a talented guy. I got Jaren Hall from BYU. He's 6 foot, a little undersized. He's 207 pounds, and he's 24 years old, so he's like an older guy, kind of like Stetson.
Jeez, all these guys are old.
Yeah. In the 2 years he played, he combined for 11 interceptions and winning records in both those years. The arm talent is awesome. Debatably, in my opinion, I mean, it might be the best arm talent in the draft. He can sling it.
Pin that one.
Pin it. Pin it. Really good athlete. He even played baseball at BYU. So he's got that fast release. Mobility is great, and he's definitely a dual threat QB. He takes care of the football. Like I said, only throwing 11 interceptions in his college career. Goes through progressions very well. He takes the check down if his first 2 reads aren't there, and he's patient. When looking for the coverage, he lets the coverage open up and then attacks it, pushes the ball down the field. The weaknesses, though, I mean, the height. The height is a big thing because to see over the line, make those throws. He played at BYU too. Level of competition, that's a big jump.
Yep.
He's not the best in the pocket. He's a slow climber, and he sails the ball way over guys' heads when he's getting pressured just because of his size. He's more effective when he's on the move, and his age hurts him too when teams are looking at him too, right? But again, teams might be looking at this guy saying, "Hey, this is our backup, not the franchise guy." But yeah, I think another like day 3 guy wouldn't surprise me if he went late day 2. Reminds me of Kyler Murray with the size and the baseball background, and yeah.
What was his 40 time?
He didn't run.
I mean,
if I had to guess though, he's like
he can move.
He's like a 4.5, 4.6
Yeah.
guy.
Yeah, no, I mean he can move. I mean, I think NFL teams fall in love with attributes. Arm and
I think combine's a big thing, even though I don't think it shouldn't be. It is.
Yeah.
Like I mean.
No, I know, and NFL teams fall in love with attributes. This is one of those guys. The way drafts have been in the past. I don't know. The NFL game is becoming a lot more like the college football game as they're adapting concepts and making almost the game easier for these type of guys. And he's one of those guys that fits that role where like teams like, okay, if we simplify the game as much as possible, use his athleticism, his traits to our advantage. All it takes is one team to fall in love with that. You never know. He's one of those guys that sneaks in, second, maybe late first round.
Think so?
I mean second
with attributes. Second
day.
It's true.
Mm-hmm.
And I like him a lot. I like him a lot.
I know we're gonna talk about Hendon Hooker soon. He's one of those guys. He's hurt towards ACL. He's probably not playing year 1. Who knows? So get a healthy guy. Team falls in love with that. Feels like they can work with it. I mean, look at a guy like Jordan Love. Going into it, we didn't think Jordan Love was gonna be a first round pick.
Yeah, right.
And then he climbed throughout that draft process. And I mean, he hasn't played yet, but we'll see.
He's gonna light it up.
Yeah, and
Pro Bowl first year.
Yeah.
Sure he is. Sure he is, John. Yeah, and another thing with Jaren Hall, personality sells a lot of NFL teams as well. Like last year, we had Malik Willis, who I think he gave clothes to someone like outside that was homeless outside of the combine, and that boosted him up the draft boards almost instantly, which is something weird to see, but it did happen. And then Jaren Hall also has like a random story that's like that, but teams could look at it and say, "Oh, that's interesting." So I think it was 2016, 2017. He was a missionary. He's going door to door with his buddy, coworker, whatever. And some lady like screams out help. She's getting robbed. Jaren Hall happens to just run after the dude, tries to track him down. I think they get in their car, follow him, and he ends up that same dude ends up going to his backyard or something like that, and they call the cops. They get the guy arrested, but it shows that Jaren Hall wants to help other people, and I think teams see that, see the personality, and that's a big benefit for. It's a random story, but NFL teams do see personalities, and I think we can relate that to draft day when the guy, no one went to his birthday party and he fell down the draft boards. So, whether or not that's relevant to this, who knows? But it is. It's interesting.
Hey, that story sounds like a Green Bay Packer in my book. So.
Hey, being likable is a skill,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's an important one, especially as a quarterback. You're supposed to be a leader of your team, leader of that locker room. But I mean, teams gotta think he's the guy. So we'll see.
Yeah. So at number 5, like Jack said, he was coming up soon. So here he is, Hendon Hooker. And the reason
my guy.
I have him at 5 is only because of his injury. I think he'd be maybe top 3 if he wasn't hurt.
I think without the injury, he's gonna pass the next guy on our list. I mean, he would pass the next guy on the list. Definitely.
For sure. And he's hurt. I think he'll be healthy within the mid-season. I want to say he'd be healthy before mid-season. That's what he's estimated to at least. But another thing is his age. He's 25 as well. So like the other guys we've mentioned so far, he is older. He transferred from Virginia Tech to Tennessee, where Jack's at right now. So he's Jack's boy. But I think he's going to be the steal of the draft. I really do. I think whatever team lands him in the second round pick is going to get a steal. I think he has a better likelihood of panning out than both Will Levis and Anthony Richardson. And I think it's because his talent, he's intelligent, and he has all of the intangibles to succeed. He's 6'4", 218. He's fast, but not relatively fast, but he's knows how to run.
Yep.
He can get out of the pocket. He was 58 touchdowns and 5 picks over the last 2 seasons, 27 touchdowns and 2 picks in the last season. He was a Heisman favorite before he got hurt. So I think teams were ready to draft this guy unless he got hurt, and he ended up getting hurt, which kind of sucks for him. But, I really do see him landing in the NFL, waiting a year, maybe 2, and then being a starter and balling out for whatever team he lands on. And so I have him going round 2, maybe round 3, early round 3. And I have him going to Washington, or a team like Washington that has a quarterback kind of, but not a set in stone quarterback that could use a guy that, hey, he comes in the league, maybe balls out in the post or preseason and takes over their spot. So I could see him being an early to late day 2 pick.
Yeah. Hooker's my guy, balled out this year. And honestly, from what I've heard, I mean, I personally met him once briefly, but not
met him once.
What was that experience like?
Yeah, I met him once.
We got to hear the story.
Oh, it wasn't anything crazy. It was more of like, what's up? And we talked for about 7 seconds. But no, see, from people I've talked to, people around campus, people that personally know him, he's one of those guys that everyone loves him. He's one of those guys, like, after he tore his ACL, he was at every practice, every film meeting, whenever he could be, with crutches, supporting his guy. Like Joe Milton, who he took the starting job from last year, is going to be our quarterback next year. When Joe Milton had to take over for him for the Clemson bowl game and for the last game against Vanderbilt this year, Hooker was there, by his side the entire time. They're known to be best friends, roommates, and everything. So, I think Hooker's just really. He's a team guy, great leader. He's the one who led Tennessee to a Orange Bowl victory, to a almost college football playoff if we didn't, choke against South Carolina. But there's also the fact that, he's got every attribute you want. He's a winner. He came in here in an uncomfortable situation, came and won. And when you compare him, when he played against a guy like Levis, when he played against a guy like Richardson, he was the better quarterback in the field. But then you got to take the fact, Josh Heupel, our coach, is a great coach, and I question how much of Hooker's success was from the system versus Hooker doing it himself. And that's literally my only drawback, is how much of a system quarterback Hooker was as a result of Heupel's very intelligent offense, is what I could say. But I'm a fan.
It's be interesting to see where he goes.
Mm-hmm.
All right, this next guy is like the biggest, kind of guy to me. So, I don't know. Will Levis.
Yeah.
From Kentucky, 6'4", 229, 23 years old. First 2 years at Penn State before transferring to Kentucky. Numbers aren't too great. 23 picks in the last 2 years played. But he's got a really good arm talent. He's got some good touch on the ball. Can make a lot of throws off platform. His offense. So the Kentucky offensive coordinator in 2021 was Liam Cohen, and he came from the Rams. So they ran a lot of play action, a lot of bootleg. So, he's good on the run, and he ran an NFL offense. So that's attractive to a lot of teams. Big build, so he can take those hits, and he's not afraid to put his body on the line when, especially by the goal line. Tough kid, and he's a good athlete. He's coming off a really poor season, though, with only 19 touchdowns and 10 interceptions. Bad production. No team really wants to see that. He's careless with the football a lot of times, and he forces a lot of throws. His footwork's sloppy at times, and he doesn't have a good feel for pressure in the pocket. Overall, his technique and mechanics compared to the other top guys it's not in the same league. I think he's going to fall. I don't see him going in the top 10. I see him going in the mid-teens, maybe early 20s. Mm-hmm. Just because when you look at the draft order, it's like, okay, 1 and 2, I think everyone knows it's going to be Young and Stroud, right? Yeah. Maybe Richardson, and then I think 4, the Colts, I think it's be Richardson. And then you look at the teams, and it's like, you got the Seahawks, the Lions, the Raiders, and the Falcons in that top 10. That's still kind of QB needy teams. But I'm just like, with all the other players that are going to be on the board, just like the value, I just feel like the Seahawks, they're a playoff team.
Is he
right? Geno Smith, go out another defensive player, right? What's up?
Is he a first round pick in your mind? Is he a first round talent in your mind? Not will he be a first round pick? Is he a first round talent in your mind?
Yeah.
You think so?
Well, you know what? I think the potential, the ceiling's high. I think He's a big boomer. He's a big boomer bust guy.
Yeah,
he really is.
See, I think he had a lot of hype going into the year, right?
Yeah,
people were saying this guy could be the number 1 pick, mm-hmm. And if he has a really good year because he has all the attributes and everything, and to go watch what he did this year it was terrible. It wasn't just a little; it was a major disappointment.
Yeah,
So, when I watch him come, when I went to the game, I watched him come to Neyland. The dude didn't look like he belonged in the field, and that's concerning. I'm sitting here and I'm like, all right, this guy's supposed to be, that's supposed to be a first round pick. A first round pick, you should be all right, you're making plays and everything, and
mm-hmm.
I don't know.
So you don't think he's a first round talent?
No,
day 2 guy.
Absolutely not. I mean, I would take an injured Hooker over Will Levis any day of the week, personally.
Yeah.
But I think that there's definitely positive traits to him, sure.
Mm-hmm.
But it's all about what teams think they can do with those traits versus what kind of guy he really is.
Yeah, I mean, this is definitely a guy you get and develop. He's not going to be a superstar right away like some of these other QBs we think. And, I think he's going to slide down draft boards. I don't think he goes in the top 10. I could see him going to the Titans maybe at 11, right? They're rebuilding. Go get a QB, right? He falls to you if they have him. The thing is, the top 10 too, I don't think the top 10 teams, right? When you get past 4, when the Colts take a QB, when it's Seahawks, Lions, Raiders, Falcons, it's Do you think any of those teams are really in love with Will Levis when he's on the board?
Probably not. Especially because a lot of them are a few pieces away from being a good team.
Exactly.
Like this year,
and it's like
they can compete.
And I think Atlanta wants to see what they have in Desmond Ridder, right? The Raiders. I mean, say what you want. Jimmy G's decent, and honestly, when you look at that division, I think they can go second in the division. And I say that because the Broncos, who knows? That's a mess over there, right? I mean, I don't know. Maybe Sean Payton turns it around.
Over the Chargers?
He'll turn it around. He'll turn it around.
Listen. The Chargers, every single year, it feels like the past 2-3 years, right? It's like we come in with high expectations for these Chargers, and they come out flat every year.
Yeah.
Tell me I'm wrong. They do. So it's just like, and you get Devontae, you got Jacobs running the ball, you get Jacoby Myers. I feel like Jimmy G's decent. If he has weapons around him, a run game, which is what he's going to have in Las Vegas, I think they can make it happen. So I think Levis falls mid, maybe early 20s. Commanders, Patriots, Vikings, Titans, maybe Buccaneers.
See, like,
that's what I think.
If I'm the Commanders, I'm sitting there. I got Sam Howell as my quarterback right now, probably.
Why not?
Like, I mean,
right?
Nah, but like I'm sitting there. I'm like, is he actually an upgrade over Sam Howell? Sam Howell was a good college quarterback. You sit there and you're like,
I think Sam Howell is their guy.
So give him a chance.
I mean,
let me ask you this though: if you're the Vikings, do you take him?
I don't
as
think,
what
why?
With Kirk? I mean, I think Kirk Cousins is a better quarterback. But like I said, that
I know, but what's the future with Kirk Cousins? I feels like Minnesota has been wanting to get rid of him for a long time, and they just haven't because they haven't had the draft position. So let's say a top guy,
if they think he's top guy,
right, falls to them, would they take him? Like, think about, you know what I mean? It's just like,
but like,
I don't know.
If I'm the Vikings, I had Cousins for the next couple of years if I want him, right? Like, why not take a guy like Hooker over that? Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, if you're gonna do that,
if he's on the board like that, but but I mean, Levis is, I mean, the talent's there. It's just, he's got to put it together. He's got to develop more,
Yeah, I mean,
the talent's there. I think Hooker's a more NFL ready QB
for sure.
But Levis, he might have a higher ceiling.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely the traits. I don't know.
For some reason, Will Levis kind of reminds me of Jordan Love. I don't know why.
Is that a positive or a negative? Like, I don't know where we're going with this.
I don't like kind of just like the process.
Who is Jordan Love? Like, he's like hasn't even played.
We're gonna find out.
Yeah,
but like no, I'm just talking about as like a draft prospect. Like, kind of like shaky. Like, he's got high ceiling, but he's got to clean up a lot of crap. Like, it's like, you know what I mean?
I don't know. I
kind of see it.
I think Jordan Love's a better prospect. I think Jordan Love's definitely got more physical talent. I mean, like,
but the same thing with Jordan Love though. Jordan Love came into like the year before he was gonna be a top 10 pick, and then the season right before he entered the draft, he had a down year.
Mm-hmm.
Right, it's kind of like Will Levis. So it's like, I don't know. And I think they both have that talent, but they got to clean up a lot of stuff. So I don't know. But I kind of compare them.
No, I mean, I think the thing is, like, you look at, like we talked about before a little bit, like with Hurts, his it factor. Like, Hurts has that it factor, and Stetson Bennett has that it factor. That's something you can't teach, and I don't think Levis has it. And I think that's
no, I don't think he does either.
You know?
Yeah, definitely. Look, if I'm the GM, I'm not drafting him, but
I think he's got.
I'm just saying. I think but I think he's going to fall, and those teams make sense to me. Like Tampa makes sense.
Yeah, they got Baker right now. They need something.
Yeah, but Baker's just he's not a.
He's not doing anything down there.
Tampa's an interesting situation.
Yeah, they're going downhill. Thank God. Yeah. At number 3, we got Mr. Boomer Bust, even bigger than Will Levis, Anthony Richardson.
Mm-hmm.
He's a combine star this year. We've had him in the past. He came out to the combine, did insane. Went 4.43, 40, 40-inch vert, 10.9 broad jump. He's 6'4", 244, running that speed. That is nuts. But the whole thing is, with him, it's just all raw talent. He can throw the ball deep. He has speed. He can throw the ball really hard into tight spots. But the whole thing is, nothing's been proven in stats for him. Last year was 53% completion percentage, 17 touchdowns passing, 9 interceptions. That's not very good for a starting quarterback to come into the NFL and instantly get picked like that in the top 3 just because of his size, just because of his speed and everything like that. So I think his intangibles are overshadowing his flaws, and I think it's going to really destroy some team that picks him in the top 5. I think he's going to be a bust unless he gets good coaching, and I think if he's forced to start within his first year, like if he doesn't have time to develop with a year under a good coach, I think it's gonna hurt him more than it does benefit him. So I think he needs to go to a team where they have a starter, and that he'll be a starter the next year, the year after that.
So what team do you think that is? Like, because I'm just thinking, like, all right, that's not the Colts. Is it the Seahawks? Is it the Raiders?
I think he's gonna go to the Colts, but I think it's gonna. I don't think it's gonna be good for him.
You don't think it's gonna work out?
Yeah, I think he'll end up either on the Colts or possibly the Panthers. There's been talks that like, oh, they're enamored with the Panthers. I think it would be dumb, but I really see him on the Raiders or the Colts. I think the Raiders are a perfect spot for him because he could develop under Jimmy G and have a couple years to,
the Seahawks
settle in. And the Seahawks as well with Geno there. Like Geno's a good mentor. He's really experienced, and they'll have weapons for him.
Geno said he was open to it. I mean, he knows that there's a possibility that Seattle drafts a QB after that extension he just signed. So interesting.
Do you guys sit there and look at Richardson and you're like, he's a quarterback, or he's a big dude who can move really well and just make plays?
Yeah, that's all
look at Jalen Hurts though.
I mean, you look at
Jalen Hurts had the college experience and the college success.
He did. Hurts had a hell of a lot more success than Richardson. When I mean, I know this is just, it feels like a reoccurring thing, but when Florida came and played Tennessee this year, watch this guy in person. He makes some plays. You're like, holy crap! You're like, that dude's a dude. And then he makes some plays. You're like, dude, this dude does not belong to play. Doesn't belong in Division I college football. So like, I personally see I see a lot of similarities with him and like a guy like Dwayne Haskins when the Redskins drafted him. But Haskins wasn't the same athlete as he was, and he had a lot more production. So like those are the only two differences. But like Haskins was the same guy though. He'd make some plays, you'd be like, whoa, like this guy's good. And then he'd make some plays where you're like, it's confusing. So he's another one of those guys. Like, I think that the people are so enamored by the combine numbers, enamored by the size, the speed, all the attributes, which worked out for a guy like Josh Allen. And you look at he got the arm strength, like it worked out for a guy like, but like a guy like Richardson, he almost didn't even win the job at Florida. So it's a tricky situation.
Yeah, I'm honestly even confused. He came out early for this year to go to the draft. Like he was a sophomore.
Yeah.
I think he redshirt freshman, sophomore. And he just jumped into the draft, I think I don't know if it's the best move for him. I think he could have proved himself another year in college, but the combine, turned it around for him. So
yeah, I mean, I think for him, like Florida's low-key it's incompetence as a school, as a college football program. Yeah. So I think in his mind, he's like, hey, like, I don't want to risk hurting my draft stock when I have these abilities, these traits that I know one team's gonna fall in love with that for sure. So it just depends who it is and what type of offense he's gonna go to, because I think it's a very interesting combination. You put those two guys together.
John, where do you think he's gonna land?
I think he's going to go to the Colts. I mean, I think he goes in the top 10, right? I mean, do you see him slipping out of the top 10?
Jack, what do you think? Top 10?
Do I think he will be or should be?
Will.
No, yeah. A team will either trade up for him in the top 10. That's what I think is going to happen. But I don't think he's a top 10 pick. Honestly,
no, I think
I don't think he is either.
He was late first round before the combine.
Top 10, though.
Yep.
Because you know
crazy.
what? I mean, it's so tough as a GM too, right? I mean, Because if that hits, if that draft pick hits, it's
It's
like
a lottery. It's a lottery pick. That's what it is.
It's Josh Allen.
It's so tough, right?
You get Josh Allen.
I know. So
it's do you as a Packers fan, you go there and be like, hey, like I'd rather have him over Jordan Love?
Hell no, Jordan Love, baby.
No, but like honestly, like would you rather draft a guy than sit behind Jordan Love? Like I don't know. Like I feel like that's just picking another type of guy like Jordan Love, like where it's like nothing's really put together when he's coming out of college.
Yeah,
so
it depends where the. Yeah, it depends where he gets drafted, right? I mean, Jordan Love wasn't a guy that was going to come in and play right away.
Yeah.
3 years on the bench, learn the scheme, system.
Well, he also had Aaron Rodgers ahead of him too.
Yeah, exactly.
So he's learning from the best. But if Anthony Richardson goes to the Colts or somewhere like that where he has no one, it's not going to go well.
It could be a mess. Yeah.
No, but I mean, I think if he's a top 10 pick, he's probably starting right away.
Yeah, and I think it'll screw someone. But
I mean, if it's the Raiders or Seahawks, no.
Sure.
Right.
Sure.
Yeah, I think the Raiders are the best fit, personally.
I mean,
Jimmy G. I mean, see, like maybe the Raiders. Like, I'm not drafting a quarterback.
I know that's.
I think they might not. Yeah.
Like a lot of these teams, though, like you think like need a QB. Like, do they though? I think they're good teams and there's gonna be a lot of good talent defensively. There's gonna be good cornerbacks. Variable, and like offensive lines. I don't know.
Yeah, there's a bunch of big D-line edge guys in that range.
Exactly.
Too, so.
Yeah.
Yeah. So at number 2, we got Bryce Young, who's the big talk is his size.
Number 2.
His size is everything right now for teams thinking about drafting him. He's 5'10", at least on paper. He's 5'10", 204. But you see him in person, in pictures, he doesn't look that big. So I think it's a whole Kyler Murray situation size-wise, but his talent is more than Kyler Murray. He's threw 79 touchdowns, 12 picks over the last 2 years, with 7 touchdowns rushing over the last 2 years. And I think he's going to go to Houston. I'll just put it out there right now. I think he's going to revive Houston single-handedly. I mean, I think they're going to make other moves, but he's going to revive Houston. I think he's got a comparison like Drew Brees size-wise. Everyone undervalued him. Everyone was like, oh, he's not going to be in it because of his size. But Drew Brees proved them wrong, and I think Bryce Young will too because he's already smart. Bill O'Brien said he's almost as smart as Tom Brady. And Tom Brady is the GOAT. Not my GOAT, but he's the GOAT. So
whoa. Who's your GOAT?
Oh, come on. It's Drew Brees. Drew Brees is my GOAT.
You got like John Aaron Rodgers.
He can't.
Hey, man. Drew's the GOAT in my eyes, but, we won't get into it. We won't get into it because that'll start an hour-long debate. John knows, but...
I know. It's not pretty. All right, right now, quick, because we touched on it.
Yeah.
Jack, who's better, Aaron Rodgers or Drew Brees?
Career-wise or talent-wise? Because talent-wise is Aaron Rodgers, but like...
All right, both wise. Yeah, but career.
Overall career, I mean, I think it probably goes to Rodgers too.
End it there.
Yeah, I know.
Rodgers. All right, go back to Bryce Young.
Yeah, you would end it there, Sean. No.
I love Brees, but
Brees is awesome.
I mean, you make the debate. Aaron Rodgers is the most talented quarterback of all time.
You can't argue with the 4-time MVP, right?
No, it's not.
Brees has got none.
I mean, Brees should have at least 1, maybe 2, but we won't get into it. We'll save it for another podcast.
Shoulda, woulda, coulda. Aaron Rodgers should.
He literally had better stats than the MVP, like in every category one year. But it's a popularity prize, but we won't get into it.
Yeah, because the public really loves Aaron Rodgers.
The NFL voters, yeah, they do. But anyways,
if you're not a Packer fan or a Jets fan, you hate Aaron Rodgers.
I'm talking about NFL voters, man. I'm not talking about the normal people.
That's same people.
No, it is not.
All right, go to Bryce.
All right, Bryce. Let's talk about Bryce.
Yeah. Anyways, back to Bryce. He has every pro in passing wise. He's smart. He makes the good throws, but his only con is he tries to make plays that are too big for him. Like Patrick Mahomes style plays. Like he tries scrambling, finding a guy across his body, throw into him, and that ends up in a pick. And that's what NFL teams want to see him not do. So if he can cut down on those sort of plays, I think he's going to be a great quarterback for Houston. I think he's going to go to Houston. I think it's going to happen. So we'll see.
All right. Bryce Young will be the number 1 pick in the draft.
No.
And I think that he's significantly better than your number one guy.
Really?
Yes.
He gets hit once though, and he's dead.
That's crazy.
No, it's not. It's not.
That much better. He's not that much better.
Yes, he is.
No, he's not.
One guy,
He's
again, we're going to talk about this again. One guy's a football player. One guy's got the it factor. One guy doesn't. Your number one guy does not. He shrinks in big moments. Bryce Young steps up to the plate.
He does not shrink in big moments. CJ Stroud?
Yes.
Against Georgia this year in the playoffs?
He balled out.
I think he played a pretty good game against one of the best defenses of all time.
Yes,
late in the game.
Yes,
in college football.
Yes, but he played great. But you look at the games leading up to that. You look at the games where Ohio State, with a number one quarterback in the draft, the best quarterback that should be in football, they didn't look good. Like, they should have lost 2 or 3 straight games, but they had enough talent where their defense made plays. They should have lost to Penn State, but they won. And CJ Stroud did not look good. But we'll get into CJ Stroud in a little bit. Bryce Young. You sit there and you say he's 5'10". You say this, you say that.
It matters.
Sure it does. Sure it does. But when I watch Bryce Young, again, we'll go back. We'll talk about the Alabama-Tennessee game this year. We will.
Let's do it.
And I watch Hendon Hooker and Bryce Young battle. Like, that was debatably one of the greatest college football games of all time. And regular season speaking, and you sit there and you watch Bryce Young make certain plays where you look like he's one of those guys. He looks like a child in the field, which is what people don't like, and I understand that. But the dude makes plays. And it's not like he's lacking any sort of talent. He's still got the arm talent. He reads the defense fantastically. Like, he is one of those things. He has the football IQ that you can't teach. And like you said before, he makes certain plays that you probably shouldn't make. But like, I'd rather it be that way than the other way around, where he's afraid, he's hesitant to do things. And maybe also you got to take into account, like, he's playing at football at Alabama. Like, he's in a position where he knows he can take certain risks that a lot of other quarterbacks can't. But if you're telling me, like, I'm gonna choose a quarterback for a game-winning drive out of this class, I'm taking Bryce Young. I'm taking the Heisman winner. I'm taking the guy that I'm sitting there like he's the number one pick in my mind, and I will be very surprised if he ends up in a system anywhere. I mean, like, the NFL game's turning into the college game. If he ends up being a bust, I'd be shocked.
No, I don't. Yeah, I don't think he's gonna be a bust. I think
he'll be good.
He's gonna be good, and I mean, I don't know. The size is a big concern.
The size,
but you don't say you say that because he can't see over the offensive line, the pressure. You say that, but like,
it's a different game.
GMs and organizations look at that too as like a health concern. Like, you see Tua getting tossed and stuff. Like, this dude's 5'10", he's under 200 pounds, and these 300-pound guys are coming, like, running full speed, tackling, slamming him.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm bigger than him. I'm 5'11", 195 pounds.
Yeah, no, I know, but see,
it's concerning.
Another thing I like to look at is when you have a guy like Nick Saban as your coach, the greatest college football coach, in my opinion, of all time, and he's a guy very hesitant to go out there and give compliments that really show character. And the way he talks about Bryce Young is different than I've ever seen him talk about another quarterback. And you see the guy, like, when you have a guy like Nick Saban saying those things about you, like, take him off the field. Like, he says Bryce Young's is the most talented quarterback he's ever had, like, over Tua, over all that. But you sit there and you see, like, the way, his preparation, like the work he puts in behind it, you can see it on the field. And I feel like those type of guys are guys you don't bet against.
Yeah, I mean, and I don't want to disrespect him with the size thing. I don't really, to me, I'm just saying this is what I think a GM is seeing and looking at, right?
Yeah, he should be the number one pick, like you said. I think he should, but CJ Stroud's going to be number one. And
he's got the it factor and everything, and he makes some crazy plays. Hopefully that translates to the NFL because, it's just a different game.
Yeah.
Different. I mean, hopefully it's going to be fun to watch. But, yeah, I mean, I'm rooting for the kid. I don't know. CJ Stroud to me is just he's the guy.
Let me hear it.
He's the guy. All right, so number one, if you guys didn't know, CJ Stroud, this guy from Ohio State. 6'3", 200 pounds, 21 years old. It's pretty attractive for, GMs. Go get your franchise QB at 21 years old. 19 years.
Yeah, versus 25,
right?
Versus all the other guys.
Heisman Trophy runner-up 2 years in a row. In his two years of playing, he threw for over 40-plus touchdowns in both years with only 6 interceptions. That's production right there. And and he does not turn the football over, right? He's very calm in the pocket. He goes through his progressions really nicely. If the first read isn't there, he doesn't start buzzing his feet. He doesn't get antsy. He's calm in the pocket. The ball placement is unbelievable. You watch a game, he throws 40 times. I think 37, 38 of those passes are just right on the money. That being said, I know it's Ohio State and they have a bunch of good receivers and they're running pass guys. But when he throws that ball, those receivers don't break stride. It's still on the money and, which leads to a lot of big plays and a lot of touchdowns. 6'3", good size, stay in the pocket, throw over defenders. And, I guess the weakness is mobility.
Yeah.
That's a huge question. I think he showed enough mobility against Georgia in the playoffs,
mobile,
right? I mean, he showed some flashes, that he can move. And the thing about scrambling and stuff like this is it's just about getting something out of nothing, right? He's not going to make a joke and go 40 yards to the house, but that's not him at all. But if play breaks down and he gets flushed out of the pocket, he'll go get you 5-6 yards. You know what I mean? I think he's capable of doing that. He did that against Georgia, one of the best college defenses of all time. Bunch of first rounders on that defense, right? And I mean, yeah, I like him a lot. I think he's a stud, and he sometimes needs to make better decisions. Sometimes he doesn't scan the full field well. He can go through his 2 progressions on one side of the field, but once it goes to the other side, do that full field read, he kind of struggles with. He doesn't always see that backside safety that picks him off.
Which was
if you go back and watch the tape,
Michigan,
six of his picks, that's 4 of them right there. Just right scanning the field, but just of course every QB, sometimes under pressure, he doesn't, sucks. But that's just gonna come with those 2 things though. That just comes with experience, right?
Experience, yeah.
I mean, you're gonna get better at that, right? So I think he's going number 1 overall to Carolina. Carolina had 14 reps at his pro day yesterday. We're filming this on Thursday. So Wednesday, yesterday was his pro day. 14 reps. We're there looking at him from Carolina. Former NFL QB and now Panthers coach Josh McCown said to CJ after the workout when they're joking around oh, let's go play some horse or whatever. Maybe when you live in Charlotte, we'll find a court. Done deal. CJ Stroud to Carolina, number 1 overall.
Yeah.
Best QB in the draft.
All right.
I don't know if he's the best. I think Bryce Young might be better talent-wise, but CJ's going to be number 1.
Oh, okay. See, going into the year, I sat here and I was if you were to ask me what quarterback's to win the Heisman, I would have said CJ Stroud. I thought Stroud debatably was a better quarterback than Bryce Young was last year. When Bryce Young won the Heisman. But I look at a guy who with an offense of Ohio State, where he had the best offensive line in football, he had the best receivers in college football. And there was just so many times where I sat there and I was he could be doing so much more than he actually is. You look at the Michigan game, the dude didn't come to play, and don't get me wrong, he's a quarterback, he's very good, he's very talented, and I think this is a great debate for top 2 guys, But I look at the guy, I'm there's something there that maybe it's wrong to say he doesn't have an it factor, but he's the type of guy that I think that he has all the attributes, but it's just not there to the extent Bryce Young has it.
But you know what? I say that too. He's 21 years old. He's a young guy, right?
I mean, how old is Bryce?
How old is Bryce? Jenks, you got that or no?
I don't have it.
I think
I'm
they're
looking at his
the
age.
same
I think
age.
he's younger.
They're
I think
definitely
they're the
the
same
year.
age. Bryce
I'll
Young
look it up.
wasn't old. He's not old. He's coming out. I think he's a junior. I think
Yeah.
he just played his junior year.
I think they're both 21.
I honestly think like it's up to what they prefer, like size wise and kind of what they're looking for in the
He's 21 too.
archetype, you know.
But but he's a young guy. He's gonna figure it out. I think he's got better touch than Bryce Young. But you know what? I don't think it's fair to say Bryce Young's in a different tier than him.
Yeah, the same tier. That's what I'm saying. I think
that's not what
they prefer.
It's we're arguing 1 and 2 right now, right? And I think these 1 and 2 guys are above everybody else for sure.
Well, yeah.
But I think that there's that. We'll call them same tier, but I think that there's a separation between the two. Personally, and it's Bryce Young is something you can't teach. Bryce Young's a football player.
He's got the work ethic.
Yeah, he's one of those guys where it's like, I mean, how many times you guys play football? How many times did you look at guys like high school, college, whatever? And you're like, that guy probably shouldn't be good. Like, he doesn't make sense. Like, why is he good? But he's good. And it happens in all sports. And Bryce Young's just one of those guys where it's like, I would not bet against him. I have trouble betting against a guy that's going to work his ass off, makes plays, and isn't afraid. He's not afraid to do. I mean, he's playing for Alabama, which, I mean, obviously going to help. But he's going out there and, big time moments. He's making big time plays.
Yeah. And but you know what? You could say the same thing for CJ, right? I mean, I think that Georgia game, right? The postseason. I mean, that's as good as a QB could play. I mean, that game was so big for CJ's, for the draft, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that game he played. I mean, he showed a lot.
Did he win?
I mean, no, but
the kicker.
Who won? Bennett?
Bennett.
Our seventh ranked quarterback right here. You said that, is Stroud gonna be able to run for 40 yards and score a touchdown? No,
but you think about
Bennett can.
Georgia's defense was insane compared to Ohio State's defense, though.
For sure, but
what?
See, I like the rivalry games. Is going into the season, Ohio State's biggest game in their mind is Michigan towards the end of the year. The week after. It's the week of. I think it's the weekend after Thanksgiving.
Yeah, well, you never know. Maybe he got a bad grade on a test or something.
Bad grade.
Broke up with
It's back-to-back years, John. It's 2 years he's been a starter, and he's playing English crap the bed both times.
Maybe some Michigan girls catfishing him or something.
I mean,
I don't know.
Yeah. I know.
You know what though?
Before the Tennessee game, we got Stenson Bennett's number, but he scored touchdowns on us and was doing like this. So.
He played good but he played good in a bigger moment. To be honest with you, I mean, that Georgia game was bigger, and he played awesome. I mean, you know what? I like both of these guys. I hope both of them succeed in the NFL. I just I think Carolina. I think they're all on CJ Stroud. You know what I mean? That's their guy.
They're getting him the weapons. Getting ready for him to be there. Doesn't matter though.
I don't know. Makes sense.
Saints
you know what?
Crush him.
And I think Bryce Young. I think the right spot. Bryce Young to Houston is the right spot. I don't know. That's what I think both of the front offices see. But I mean, you can't. I mean, if you put Bryce Young number 1, that's fine. But
I think
I like Stroud.
Coin flip.
I like Stroud.
But I think Panthers already have their sights on CJ Stroud. So,
I mean, if I'm one of those two quarterbacks, I think I'd rather go to the Panthers, though. Don't you think?
I can see that. Yeah.
I feel like Houston's a disaster of an organization.
Do you want to go live in Houston though?
Probably not.
North Carolina.
Houston's dome though. Sure. I mean, I don't think Carolina's not much of a weather difference, so it's not going to be cold, but.
No, I'm saying
the Derek Carr led Saints now.
What are we talking about? Carolina's got cooler uniforms. Go Carolina.
Right? I agree. I'm saying I feel like Houston's a place to die right now. It's just you just don't want you don't want to be there.
But that's a big thing too, right?
Who's their coach now?
It's the Niners.
So they could turn it around with him.
It's a
D'Amico
defensive
Ryans,
coach,
right?
but that D'Amico Ryans.
Yeah.
But you know what? That's
Did he
another
play
thing
for
too. Do you think he
played
played for the Texans? Yeah. That's the thing too. Do you think like Bryce Young is good with a defensive head coach?
Do I think he's good? I mean, Nick Saban's a defensive head coach.
Yeah, that came out wrong. That came out wrong. Yeah, but I mean, like coaching wise, like where do you think Bryce Young's a better fit?
Better
like
fit
with him? Yeah, with Ryans or Frank, right? Because he's over there.
I mean, it's tough. I mean, I think, I mean, you could look at the offensive coordinator even more than the situation.
Yeah,
but no, I mean, I think guys, I think both guys are talented enough, young enough, have all the potential to be successful wherever they go, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But if you'd ask me,
I think we've reached like where we all feel, like.
Yeah. Hold on. Do you think Bryce Young goes number 1 or no?
No, I think he goes number 1.
Yeah. Oh, you think he should?
I think he definitely should. I mean, I think the biggest issue here is he's 5'10". I think that's
his height.
I think it's a size thing.
His weight is too.
Yeah, sure. But
a lot of people just that's the big one, the height, but the weight's big too.
Yeah,
I mean, you got to be over 200 pounds to play in this league.
Yeah.
Like at QB too, when you're getting hit like that. I mean,
yeah, and the only reason Kyler was like selected so high was because he was really mobile. He could run around in circles around guys, but he's not as mobile. He's not as mobile.
No.
So that hurts him a little bit. But I think even number 2, like it's still a solid pick. It's gonna be 1 or 2. I don't see him falling past that. So
it's a lock.
Yeah, no, I mean, I sit there. I wonder to what extent like an organization like the Panthers is talking to college coaches. Like, are they talking to? I mean, I'm sure they are to, kind of get a feel for what these guys are like. Are they talking to Saban? Are they talking to Ryan Day at Ohio State? Really trying to figure out like how these guys prepare, like what these guys are like. Because if they're really at the point where they think that these guys are pretty close, neck and neck, I think the type of player that they're putting their franchise, they're all in on their franchise with is very important.
Yeah, and the Panthers kind of put themselves in a weird position because they did trade up for the number 1 spot, so they made it seem like they knew who their guy was. So if they mess up the pick,
don't screw it up.
Yep.
I don't think they trade back down. There's rumors, but I think they stay.
What, like trade and try to get more from
it's not happening.
There's a rumor that that if Carolina likes multiple top QBs, they're gonna trade back down.
Not happening.
Like, what are they gonna go to 4 with the Colts? Like,
and then get neither.
What was the whole point then? They give up DJ Moore for your rookie QB.
Mm-hmm. No, maybe they'll trade that. Maybe they'll shock the world and just take Anthony Richardson and we'll sit there.
That's what I'm saying.
Anthony Richardson will be Josh Allen.
All right, so let's just play. 2 more minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just say that happens. Right?
Yeah.
Like, how does it play out then with the Young and Stroud still on the board with Houston on the clock? Do the Colts trade up to the what happens
with Houston? I
think Houston takes Bryce Young and then they'll trade to 3 maybe because the Bears or who's 3 now? Arizona.
Arizona's
not getting quarterback.
They're gonna take Will Anderson, so he's probably gonna drop to 4 then. Stroud.
Yeah. Unless someone trades for him.
Yeah,
no one's gonna trade for him.
That'll be interesting.
It's interesting.
Yeah, I mean,
because like we said, I think there's really 3 teams in the top 10 that are gonna take QB, and they're in the first 4 picks. You know what I mean?
Wait, the Colts have what pick?
4.
They're 4. Yeah,
a team could try to hop them.
Yeah, I mean,
a team that
they could
at
trade
3.
up.
Yeah, I guess right. I mean,
Cardinals.
if CJ drops to 4, right? I mean, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if a team hops up and takes him, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Who's the Colts new coach?
What's up?
Who's the Colts coach?
New coach? I have no. It's
the Colts.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, off the top of my head.
Yeah. I mean, I think that may have play too.
I think they get hopped. I think if CJ Stroud comes available, teams are going to call for the Cardinals pick.
Oh, it's the Eagles OC.
Oh yeah.
Hey,
That's interesting.
Alabama guy.
Yeah,
they had Hurts last year. That worked out well for them. Undersized Alabama guy. You never know.
Yeah, but Young's gonna go too. But yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. Pump for the draft. It's in about like a month away, so yeah. Jacked up.
Yes, sir.
Jacked up.
Yes,
Jack
sir.
Lish with us on the Jakes and the Hammer podcast. Let's go. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. That's it. We're gonna wrap up. Jack, thanks for joining.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
Thanks, Jack.
You're welcome back anytime. For everyone out there, make sure to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at Jenks Hammer Pod. You can listen to this podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. If it's on YouTube, please make sure to like and subscribe. And thanks for watching. We'll see you guys Monday morning.
Yep.
Monday morning.
Let's go.
Thank you for tuning in to the Jenks and the Hammer podcast. Remember to leave a review and follow all of our social media pages at Jenks Hammer Pod for more content. Until next time, who dat and go Pack Go!